Welcome to Bandit's Keep Actual Play. I'm Daniel. Today we're continuing my solo original Dungeons & Dragons campaign using Chainmail and Outdoor Survival. You might be wondering why this campaign is called The Song of the Mapper, since we haven't had a mapper in a while. So in this episode, we're going to go over a little bit more of the economy of the mapper, if you will. We're also going to look at the mechanics again, just kind of an overview if you haven't seen a mapper episode yet. And we're going to send out a mapper on their first quest. So let's see how it goes. It is February 24th, and I realize that for a campaign called The Song of the Mapper, we haven't been doing very much with mappers lately. Actually, I don't know if this will air after that, but I'm actually out of maps as of right this second. So I needed to get some mappers in the field, and I think I may have talked about this a bit on the Patreon, but not so much here. So I'm just going to quickly go over the plan with the mappers, kind of the economy, if you will, of the mapper, and then we're going to get into it. So a couple things have gone on. Vani was a mapper that we used last season that got to 4th level, and then they became a master mapper. As a master mapper, they can send other mappers out. So I've got a little economy behind this, which I will explain in a second. I made a new master mapper because I had this mapper who had no master, as it would be. So I kind of made a rival. I made them 6th level. I just figured they've been around a while, right? So this is the competition. You could imagine there are more mappers and master mappers in the world, but the whole campaign isn't about this. So I'm going to do this too. So here's how this basically works in a nutshell. When a mapper goes out, they need to get a blessing from a master mapper. The blessing is basically a trance that they're put into, which allows them to understand where there's potential treasures. Okay, that's kind of how they know that the maps are out here, right? Or the locations are out here. They're not maps yet. Now, that costs them 500 gold pieces to do that per level, because they get 1 die per level. She's only 1st level, so we're not going to see any of this right now, but when we get into it, you'll see the, I haven't quite come up with a name yet. I don't really want to call it a sanity die like Call of Cthulhu, but kind of there's this, there's a die that we tracked, and if it falls to 0, basically they lose themselves into the wilderness. So you can take that however you want, but each level they can only have 1 die at a time, so it's 500 per die. So she's level 1, she's only going to be able to get 1 die. She's going to pay her master mapper 500 gold pieces. That will gain him 500 experience points, right there. For the master mapper needs to spend 100 gold pieces to give the blessing, basically in material components. So that's kind of how the budget of this works. When a mapper comes back with their map, they are paid a value of the map. The master mapper pays them that value. Then the master mapper sells that map to adventurers, and again, that's where experience points and stuff are gained for them. As they level up, they can have more mappers. So she's 4th level as the lowest level of a master mapper. She can have up to 4 mappers at a time in her kind of guild, if you will. They're 6th level. They can have up to 6 mappers at a time. They have 1 to start with. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a roll. I'm going to make a d6 roll to see how many mappers each one of them kind of has. I don't like to make up individual cards for the mappers until they've survived a bit, because this is pretty deadly. So first we're going to start with Vani. I'm going to roll this d6. If it comes up 4, 5, or 6, it's just going to be 4, because that's the most she can have. 3. All right, so she's going to be allowed 3 mappers. Well, she's going to start with 3 mappers. You can have 4 total, but she's going to start with 3. The reason why this matters is because, like I said, I'm short on maps, and we're going to be sending people out. It's deadly, so she may end up sending out all 3 of her mappers today. Who knows? Cedric, let's make a roll to see how many mappers he currently has in his stable. 1. Okay, so Cedric only has this 1 mapper. Maybe they've been having bad luck. So what this means is every time I sit down to play with the actual mapper, I'm going to roll. So basically once per month, I'm going to roll. On a 4, 5, or 6, they gain an additional mapper. On a 1, 2, or 3, they don't. And then again, they can only have their maximum. So right now, she doesn't have nearly as much money or as experience, but she has 3 mappers currently that are able to work. He's only got the 1. So this is February. When I do it again in March, because it'll be per month, he'll get to roll to see if he gets 1 more mapper, and so will she. So since he only has 1 mapper, I think I'll start with Hirsu, the flat nose, who has some experience. She's going back out. I think this is her 2nd jaunt, and we're going to jump into this. I'll get into a little bit of the mechanics of it because we haven't done this in a while, but effectively we are using outdoor survival with a couple of added on rules. All right, this is a quick overview. I've definitely done full videos, and I think I'll do one that's like really how to play this thoroughly, but I've done a bunch of videos where I explain this. But again, if you haven't watched this before, I'm just going to do this quickly just so you get an idea. This is based on outdoor survival. The character has so many movement points as noted by these little tabs. They can move around, and depending on the terrain they're in, it takes up different amounts of movement. So I use the search scenario here. And what this basically means is we roll a d6 at the beginning of each turn. If it's a 1 or a 2, I can move any direction I want, but I have to move in a straight line with no turns, and I have to move my full amount of movement. 3, 4, 5, I have to move my full movement, but I can turn once. And if I roll a 6, I can make as many direction changes as I want, and I can also do less than my full movement, which is useful for this. At the end of each turn, I roll a d6 on a 1 or a 2. I find water, so my water doesn't go down. In any case, if I cross over a water or a food, I don't use water or food that turn. If I stop on a water or food, and spend the night, basically, it jumps back to the next section here, which you'll see works. So for instance, if I was here, it would go to there. If I stop on a house, I get both water and food, and I reset my, what I'm going to call the wilderness die. I guess that's what we're going to call it now. And you'll see how that works. Effectively, she's going to have 1 wilderness die. Every day, it counts down. If it gets to 1, and the next move, if she doesn't leave the board or stop on a house, that's it. We lose her into the wilderness. If she lands on, that is, stops on a map hex, she opens it up and clears it. So she has to actually stop on it to do it. All right, so let's start playing, and you'll see how it works. So you might notice that I've got a bunch of little tabs in the center there. There's 7 of them, actually. And what I do is I roll 7d6. And I'm going to place the tabs randomly in the sections. There's basically 6 sections of this map. Okay, so 1 and 6. Looks like 2 and 5. This is 5 here, obviously. 1 and 4. 4 is the worst. We've got 2 and 1 and 1 and 2. So 2 is here, and then 1 is on the other side. And then what I do is I kind of just like grab I'll do this one first. I put my finger on it. I close my eyes. I just kind of spin my finger around and I stop. I'll do that up here too for each of these. I know it's not completely random, but somebody had suggested before that I roll dice, but I think to roll dice would just, I don't know that would be any easier. So I don't do that. I've thought of different ways to do it. And what I realized was this is just as well, because this is not a perfect system. But it works and it's fun. Okay, next step. Now I roll to see where my mapper comes in. If you notice in the top up here, we've got, that's what you roll when you have to move randomly in outdoor survival. So I'm going to roll a d6. 3. So if we look at 3, 3 is this way. So on this part of the hex here. And then what I'll do, so this section, right? And then what I'm going to do is roll to see if it's even, odd. Even. Okay, so I'm going to come in the center on this side. I start with 6 movement, so the center is about right there. Right, that's about the center. Right there. Okay. Now I do come in on the center, but the way I run this is you don't have to leave from the center. She can leave anywhere from this, basically from this hex. So if need be, I can rush off the side up here if I need to, or over there. I think this might end up being a fairly short trip because looking at this, it might be very difficult for me to get to any of the maps save this one. And this is what happens sometimes. Basically, if I'm just looking, if I was lucky enough to get to this building and reset, I might be able to clear like that one and then come back down, reset, and then leave. but I don't think so. I think it would be very difficult for me to do that. So my goal here is going to be to get that, which I guess is here, clear that map, get that map rather, get off the board. That's my plan. Let's see what happens. All right, let's get started. So now one other thing here is I don't just use outdoor survival, right? I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons. So I use the Outdoor and Wilderness Adventures, and when we're traveling here, we check for wandering monsters at the end of each turn. Now, the mapper never fights anything, so we use the evasion rules, which can be quite hairy if you are a low-level mapper. You really don't want to lose any of these points. Like this, like I said, this counting down happens very quickly. All right. What is the best way to do this? So let's start off by seeing where our mapper is going to go. I'm going to roll a d6. I'm in the woods, so I am lost on a one. No, yeah, no. Aha. See that? I started using the wrong rules. So I'm going to roll on this chart to see what I can do. 3. So again, 3, 4, and 5 means that I have to move my full movement, which is 6 movement allotment, but I can turn once I move. So what is the best way to go? Woods cost 2. So if I go, oh, there's a crossing right here. That might actually be faster for me. I'm trying to decide if going through these woods is better. To be honest, I don't think that's faster because that's a long way around. I can move 6 in the plains, right? But really 3 in the woods. So for me to go down there to get around, it doesn't really make sense. I think the smart thing to do is going to be to go, and I wouldn't mind having this because we don't want to slow down. So I'm going to actually go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can turn once, right? Now I'm in the woods and I've ended my turn. I'm going to switch this to 5. I didn't go through water or food, so they'll both go down unless I roll a d6 here and get a 1 or a 2. I did not. So both water and food go down. Now I'm going to use Dungeons and Dragons. I'm in the woods. There's an encounter on a 5 or a 6. 6. Okay, so I have an encounter. Now again, it was the 24th of February when I entered. 1 day has gone by. Okay, there's an encounter. Let's see what it is. So in OD&D, when we have an encounter, we look at where it is and we roll a d8. 6 is men. Okay. Men typical. We're going to roll a d12. 10. 10 is bandits. All right, so we come across some bandits. What we want to do now is see how many of them there are. So if we look in Monster's Treasure, men are from 30 to 300, which is basically a d10 times 30. Okay, 7 times 30. Okay, and really when we do this, the important part is the percentage. So if you don't want to do math all the time, in a situation like this, that's 70% of the total that could be there, because that's all we really need to know. So this is evasion, 1 to 3. There are over 60%, so I have a 90% chance to evade them, and we're in the woods, which adds 25% to it. So really, I can automatically evade them unless I am surprised. So we're going to roll for surprise here. The mapper, the bandits. Okay, so I'm surprised. Now, surprised by monsters negates all chance of evasion unless the party is able to use some form of magic or the terrain is woods. Woods give 10% chance of evasion even if surprised. So let's see if we can evade them. No. All right, so since we did not evade them, what we do now is we move 1 hex in a random direction. 6. Okay, so we move towards the water. This counts down, sadly. And we they're going to pursue us. If they're faster than us, which they aren't, they'd have a 50% chance of catching us, which would be bad for us. They're not faster than us, so they can't catch us. But now we have to try to evade them again. But now we are not surprised. Our chance of evasion is more than 100%. So basically, we are able to evade them. However, we did spend half a day moving, and we did spend 1 day moving. And for each day moving you go, you must, well, first of all, I gotta drop this down. But I did, oh, actually, no. Okay, so let's roll back a bit. Couple things here. Continue my first sentence. When you are chased, basically for every day you're chased, which is we were chased for 1 day, you lose half your movement the next day. So if you get chased for 2 days, you lose a whole day, basically. Now, I would check for food and water, but not only did we cross food and water, we landed in it, which means that these actually, instead of going down, they go back to the start. So now we have avoided the bandits, and we are still at full speed, and we're about to now set off on our next day. So here we go. 4. Okay, so again, 3, 4, and 5 means we have to move our full movement, but we can turn once. So here's where I want to be smart about this. This is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is going to put me past it. So the question is, can I maneuver myself in a way? 1, 2, 3. Nope, then that'd be 1 turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, which is still not good for me. So really, I don't want to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Either way, I'm going to miss it by 1. So what's my best bet? Yeah, actually, I think the smart thing to do, funny enough, is to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'll get water, so that won't go down, which is good. Food will, though. But I don't want to land super close to this thing, so I won't be able to get it if I do that. So this will drop down to 3 now. And we're going to roll for Wandering Monster. Hopefully we don't get one, because if we do, we're going to have to leave the board without getting anything, because there's no way. Like right now, we're barely going to get off the board. Okay, in the plains, there's only a Wandering Monster on the 6, so we're good. That day goes by. We didn't get food. We did get water. We're good to go. And I already turned that down. Okay, next day. This is where we need a 6. 5, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, what am I doing? Sorry. So here's where you can finesse the game a little bit, I think. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, like a turn 3. And then you have to keep going, but this takes 3 movement. So, oh no, I'd be able to do that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. 1, 2, 3. I don't want to end up in the mountains, so I definitely don't want to do that. So then I'm going to go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll jump over it, unfortunately. But because I land on water, my water will stay where it is. My food will go down. I think I'm screwed here. It's not actually possible for me to do this at this point. I have to just retreat off the board. So let's hope that we don't have a Wandering Monster today. I'm on a river, which means that the Wandering Monster is on a 5 or a 6. 4, no Wandering Monster. Okay, next day. Let's hope for a 6. 1. All right, that's a bummer because I have to move all my speed in one direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I stop there. I do not cross water or food. Do I have a wandering? This goes down to 1. Do I have a wandering monster? No. Okay, next day. So now I get a 6. All right, well. Oh, no. Look at that. 1, 2. I land on a house. So again, when you land on a house, assuming I don't have a wandering monster. Now, this is very dangerous because if I have a wandering monster, I'm going to have to move off the house. I won't reset and I'll lose my thing. So let's see. Wandering monster only on a 6. Because now this was the time I roll a 6, right? 4. Okay, no wandering monster. So because I am on a house, this will reset all those back 1. And because it didn't jump over yet, this will reset back to 1 as well. This jumps up to 6. Aha. And I have another chance. Okay, so that was technically my, so 6 to 5, 5 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1, 1 to, yeah, that was technically my 6th day. Now, if this was D&D, I'd have to stop and rest, but obviously I am resting. But it's not, so I don't worry about that. Okay, wow, the fates really helped me there. I thought I was bummed. If I get anything but a 1 or a 2, I think I'm good to go because I think I can land right on it if I just counted that right. So here we go. Next day. 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 puts me on top of the map. Okay. Revealed the map. This drops down to 5. I did not cross food. Did I find water? I did not. Now, is there a wandering monster? Because I stopped there, I revealed the map even if I get pushed off now. Wandering monster? No. Okay, perfect. And again, it's incredibly unlikely that I would be able to pull off any of these other maps, so it's just not worth it. So I'm heading home. Okay, look at that. I rolled a 4, which means I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I land on the house again, which, again, this goes down. This goes down to 4. This won't go down. This will actually reset. But do I get pushed off? Wandering monster on a 6 only? No. So this resets, that resets, that resets. But again, I'm not going to bother. So 6, I can go anywhere I want next turn, where I want to go is off the board. Okay. So what do we have here now? I was in the field for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. So that would be, so there's 29 days in February this year. So that would be what, March 1st? Is that right? No, 5 days to be March 3rd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, March 3rd. So it's March 3rd. I'm back at camp. Now we're going to figure out the value of the map so we can do experience points and money for this mapper. Now, because I do one-to-one time, I can't send this mapper back out. But again, well, that's his only mapper that he has, Cedric. So he only has the one mapper, right? So which is her. I'm going to figure out the map that she found, give them experience points to do all that. But, you know, I'm still playing today, so I'm going to now send out some of Vonnie's mappers, so we will reset. Okay, well, again, I spoke too soon there. We need to do the map first. May as well do that here. A lot of times when I've done this in the past, I wasn't using the master mappers. I would just roll all the maps at the end, but I need to know per mapper now. So what kind of map is it? 73, which is a magic map. Ooh, okay. Magic map. In some ways, a magic map is not great because for the mapper themselves, because it's not worth as much experience points, and she needs that experience points. 3. It is any 2 items. All right. So This is a map. The two items are, first one is a 60 potion. Growth. Second one, 31. It was armor. 76. Shield +2. Okay. All right. So that's the map. What I'll do, I don't have it out here with me, but what I'll do is I'll look up the value of these. I use the First Edition Dungeon Master's Guide to give the value of the potions and shields, and that will determine the experience points and stuff for this mapper. But it won't be enough to level her up, that's for sure. So sometime after March 3rd, we'll get her back out in the field. If you've been enjoying these actual plays, and I hope you have if you got this far, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, share it, do all that good stuff that you do on YouTube. Also, be sure to check out the description below. You're going to find links to my Discord server. Jump over there, lots of great people over there, and my Patreon if you want to support the channel. I'll talk to you soon.